One of the ways that you piqued my interest in this interview anyways, at the beginning you were like, Greg, I do hypnosis very differently. Can you speak to that a little bit? Like what is, like what does that even mean in your mind? Without giving away the trade secrets, but at the same time, like I do want to kind of know, like what is going to be the difference between seeing you for a session versus really seeing anybody else that might practice like 5-path, 7-path, or any form of hypnotherapy.
Right. So 7-path is self-hypnosis, by the way. So
oh, okay.
So
Right.
that's one thing that you're introduced to in a 5-path session. If it aligns with you, then you can learn how to do self-hypnosis on your own, which is 7-path. And that goes quite deep. So here's the deal with, not all hypnotists are created equal. And personally, I would never say, yeah, just go out there and find a hypnotist, especially when it comes to regression, because this is so different than anything else out there. So for referrals or anything, I'm always open to helping people find them, whatever. And it's definitely not something that you have to do in person. And I personally really like working remotely with people, so that's automatically different. But
yeah,
because I like the idea that they're in the comfort of their own home. They can pick their own crystals, their own, chair, whatever, that they're there safe and secure and feel, like just really comfortable.
A lot of people have asked, can you hypnotize somebody as effectively on Zoom via
Oh, yes.
A lot of people have asked me that recently.
Yes, definitely. But you have to have a good hypnotist to be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
The other component that is very different for me is I'm straightforward and transparent, that I work with people that understand they have a soul, that they did come from somewhere, that they are cosmic, that this is like one part of them, but not all of them. They're who they are right here in this form. So a lot of hypnotists might not address that issue, but in order for me to be really effective, you have to align with those beliefs. And then I dive deep. Like, I'm not afraid to explore, outside of this reality, what you've created in this life, in this world, to understand how you can show up more in your own experience here.
So it's not even just past lives, it's like parallel lives and multiverse kind of stuff.
Yeah. And my whole belief around past life regression is not that you are exploring your past life, because we are all one. You are exploring a life from the past that is relevant to your experience here right now.
Oh, that's unique. Yeah. Okay.
Right? So it doesn't, like, I know Abraham Hicks and stuff says, past life, like, we don't want you focusing on the past anyway, so don't focus on it ever. And my thing is that we are all one. We all come from source, divine, whatever you want to call it, God. I don't care what you call it. And so therefore, when we tap into it through hypnosis, that gives us an ability to download the messages from other lives and other dimensions that are relevant to us today. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a air quote past life. It could be an experience in a different dimension that's happening simultaneous that you need to learn from and take from and understand here.
Wow.
So I can do age regression, and I think there's I think in this whole process, that's the first step. But for me, it's not the last step. Like, I want to go deeper. I want you to completely understand. So when we talk about the women and men that are working with me on a deeper level, this is part of that program. Understanding and taking them to these places where they then go, oh yeah, I'm cosmic. Wow. I am more. I get it because I've connected to it, right? So that's where this deeper hypnosis comes into play in those sessions and with those group of people that already know they come in going, let's go there. Let's go deep. Let's do this, right?
Yeah. And when people wake up from the formal sleep or the trance or whatever it is that you're bringing people in, do you typically, you must work in trance. I mean, you must bring people into do you ever not though? Do you ever have like eyes open? Like, you know, I mean, I can't imagine you. I mean, some people could, but usually it helps to have the eyes closed.
Yeah, they have their eyes closed, and everyone has a different experience.
Mm, okay.
Right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it depends on your journey and how you process information. And some have, guides that come in, some have the ability to talk directly. It all depends on, where they are in the process and how deep they need to go. Because once again, it's all about divine timing. You need to be ready to hear the message. So it's what message you need to hear in that moment.
Yeah. If I came to you and I was like, "Hey, Lynn, I want these divine guides to speak to me. Like, I'm not sure they're there, but I want you to point me to them." Like, could you even work with that?
I could, because I think that there is a willingness to know, and the ability to look past your own beliefs once, but there would have to be a progression. And I think that's really what the 5 path for me brings in. It brings in the knowledge that, yes, I am more and I come from more in this physical body. So cleaning that slate, like rebooting that belief, and then allows me to go deeper. So I wouldn't take anyone into the deeper hypnotic journeys before 5 path. And for me personally, I don't always take on that role of the 5 path hypnotist. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on the person's personality. That is when I really refer people. Like I'll be like, okay, I'll refer you to so and so, or I check one of these 3 hypnosis hypnotists out to see which one resonates with you more. There are some that are super deep that I can do and I take on that journey, but I really like going deeper. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm good at. That's what I'm on this earth to do. I'm here to, really tap in.
Yeah. Yeah. And when
So,
people wake up, do they have access, you believe, now to things that they didn't
yes,
before?
yes. So they'll wake up, and of course, I have notes, and there's a whole process to this so that when they come forth, they are continually reminded outside of hypnosis about these messages that they got. And then I also have been taking notes so that I can, when I check in, I can remind them. Sometimes I'll do a little Vox or a voicemail for them that they can keep and record so that they can hear them, right? Because my voice activates these messages for them on a deeper level,
Mm.
right? But they also hear the voices that, they bring this message back. And so when they come out of it, you're still in a hypnotic state, a highly suggestible state, as we like to call it, for, 30, 40 minutes. So we will sit there and communicate even while they're in that suggestible state about their power. I will have them repeat things to me to really get it solidified. I will go through, the messages that they downloaded. And then after I let them go back, then they have these really solidified messages. And I'll get, DMs and stuff from my clients that go, oh my God, I have seen this change with my relationship with my mother because now I perceive her differently because of the way I downloaded Informed Soul, because we can find, people that we made contracts with to come here, what we're supposed to learn from them. So, oh, I was having challenges with my mother, but I realized, in our Informed Soul, it was to learn patience. So now
Yeah.
I'm much more patient with my mother, and the messages that I'm getting from her are so much more valuable to me.
Yeah. I
right?
mean, look, this is like really, this is great stuff. I'm like, the escapist in my brain is going like, could I work with Lynn, have her hypnotize me, and then actually be able to see angels in waking reality? Like that's like the mission I want. Now that said, like, yeah, you could do that, like just visual hallucination stuff, but like that'd be kind of freaky. I mean, I don't know. Does
But
it
then you
ever
have
has
to
any
ask yourself the deeper question, why do I want to see angels? What is
right?
that doing for me? What would that validate for me?
Oh, that's a good question. Who?
And how can you validate that now without the
Oh, now that's good. That's good. That's a great question.
I am good at this.
Yes, you are, Lynn. Lynn Louise, the Cosmic Valkyrie.com, as well as you have a podcast
Yeah.
where you talk about all this stuff. It looks like it's available on all the major platforms. I mean, we'll definitely we'll put the links for those, the Cosmic Valkyrie podcast. Where else could people, like keep following up and even having like a look, like what is that the best introduction to your work or
So I will say that my podcast is geared towards the first steps. So
yeah.
it just started, I think I'm on episode 23, but I downloaded not long ago that in order to help people help transform more lives, that I needed to start a membership. So I started the podcast so that I could reach more lives and help more
Right.
people. And
Right.
then um, I'm gathering and going to launch the membership. I got my founding members, and now I'm going to launch it probably in January. I'll open the doors up January, February, but I have a wait list for that. So you can find that on thecosmicvalkyrie.com. But my podcast is really geared towards the first steps to bringing awareness into your life. As I go, I'll build on it and get more cosmic-y, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not talking on my podcast about this stuff.
Yes.
But you have
Score
that,
exclusive.
right? Your platform allows me to really open up and talk about this stuff. Now, in my membership and with my clients, I talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't want to come straight out of the gate on my podcast and scare the hell out of people. Like,
Right.
what the hell is she talking about? Like, oh my God. But my members know about my husband and I working with the shaman. They know about our mentorships. Like we have a completely, our lifestyle is very geared around all those four pillars that we mentioned earlier: ancient healing and wisdom. Everything that I coach is a huge part of the healing process. And up leveling that as you go and using these things in a stronger way.
Yeah, I really want to hang out with you and your husband, honestly. It sounds like the
Yeah.
food's pretty good. Like
When he's home cooking, he's a chef, right? So
yeah, I'm like, what's going on up there? I'm coming upstate to hang with
yeah,
you
you
guys.
should get him on we should have him on an interview. His perspective is of course much different than mine, his interpretation of things, and he's really into the ancient healing and wisdom. He
Yeah, we got to get him on. That would be awesome.
Yeah, he studied the classics and he's taken a lot of that, brought that forward, but also like the deeper meaning of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
Love that.
he's
Love
super
that.
fun. He's very quiet, but he has a lot to say.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And you clearly, I mean, look, you definitely have a lot of profound things to say about all this stuff. I mean, I highly recommend as a yeah, if you want that other perspective, the beginner steps, I suppose, to getting to sorcery and dream states. check, check out the Cosmic Valkyrie, Healing the Power of Your Mind from Lynn Louise on on Apple and Stitcher, Spotify. Again, we'll link to it. All that stuff. And your website. I mean, I'm excited for this mentorship launching, or this membership service you're doing in January. Yeah, I definitely think you're doing some very fascinating work. It's very riveting to
Thank you.
me.
I market obviously to sexual assault and trauma, but really this work is for anyone that wants to heal and expand. So I encourage,
Yeah.
there's if you get on the wait list, then you get, when the new podcast comes out, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and everything you're doing, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Totally. Well,
Awesome.
Lynn, thank you so much for coming on Open Loops today. You definitely expanded my mind. I love it. I love it. I appreciate you going into some of the more out there stuff. Like, very grateful for that.
Yeah, I got a lot of it. We'll have to do it again.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
having me.
Sure thing. Sure thing. Take care. We'll definitely have you and or your husband on again soon. And yeah, I everybody check out the Cosmic Valkyrie. Perfect. Perfect. This was different, right? It was like if Quincy Jones produced Michael Jackson's Thriller, this DX co-produced this episode. D, thank you. Also, are you the one that's like haunting my dreams recently? My gosh, how many daddy issues do I need to go through in my subconscious mind at night? Hey, look, thank you for co-producing this. Also, thank you, Lynn Louise Larson. I definitely need to have your husband on the show still. I love that there's such a magical family in upstate New York, of all places. Yeah, no, she's clearly doing some really interesting work. Check out the Cosmic Valkyrie as well as her podcast. And hey, we're going to be back with a lot more magical things coming up soon. Have a good weekend, everybody.